Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Wasted Nostalgia. My name is Ryan.
My name's Zach.
My name's Chuck.
And this week we took a trip to the 60s, or the 90s rather, and got a little Shaggy with Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. That was totally off the dome, but it sounded pretty cheesy when I said it.
I liked it.
It was fire. Don't stress at all.
Yeah, sure. Before we jump into this movie, I got some stats. Let's start off with box office. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
The budget for this movie, a little different than Avatar, if you can believe it.
Can I guess?
You can guess, yeah. Why don't you do that?
$12 million.
Zach, you want to guess? Remember, Avatar was roughly like 250, I think. 250 million.
What did you say?
12 million.
I'm going 14 million.
14 million? Zach is closer. 16,500,000. Good stuff. Zach with the first win of the night.
Okay.
Opening weekend. Once again, very different movie from Avatar. Do we want to guess again?
Yes.
How much do you think it made in its opening weekend?
7 million.
5.4.
5.4 million. Go higher. 9,500,000.
I feel like our guesses are in a really nice ballpark, though.
You guys have some good ballparks for these guesses.
For sure.
Cumulative worldwide gross for this movie, when it was in theaters, is 67,600,000. Now, that does not seem like a ton.
For a comedy, it's probably pretty decent.
For comedy in 1997 is probably pretty decent. I think this movie in particular killed it with DVDs. Like post-theater.
I own it.
My family owns it.
My babysitter used to have at least one of the movies, I remember.
Well, just because we were born, I think all of us, in 96.
Yes.
I was born in 96.
Yeah, this was 97.
We were born within like 2 months of each other.
Correct. Yeah. Because I'm not gonna reveal our birth dates.
Why would you try to dox us?
We don't need to do that.
You wanted to.
We don't need to do that. But I definitely grew up watching this movie. I didn't go to the theater as a 1-year-old child to watch this movie.
I remember getting
if I
the
did.
third one for Christmas the year after it came out on DVD.
And you were like 8 years old?
I must have been very
When you
young.
ripped the package open, what emotions were rushing over you?
I was super excited because
you
I had
saw
not
Beyonce.
seen the movie.
You were hyped?
I had not seen the movie.
What'd you
But
think of
had you
Beyonce?
seen 1 and 2 prior?
But I had seen 1 and 2 because my mother and father actually banned me from watching it anymore because I was running around talking like the dude.
That's amazing.
They cut the cord on you.
We were a Mike Myers household for sure.
They cut
We
the
were
cord.
pretty early on. I was like 7 or 8. We were watching Austin Powers. Wayne's World was huge. I love Wayne's World.
When could you get away with quoting the movie, like Zach was doing?
I don't know if I was ever stopped, but I also don't know how much I quoted the movie.
You didn't push like super far. You kind of.
I quote Wayne's World all the time. That is my go-to Mike Myers comedy. And the fact that we're doing Austin Powers 1 means that within the lifespan of this podcast, I need us to do 2 and 3, and then Wayne's World. At least the first Wayne's World.
I think that should happen.
Yeah, no time soon, obviously.
But in the near future, number 2.
Sure. Well, we were just talking about 97 when this came out. Let's time travel once again. Let's talk about other movies from 97, okay?
Yep.
If you want to do the close your eyes, hold your hands thing again, feel free. 1997 box office movies. We had Contact.
Never heard of it.
Me neither. The Devil's Own.
Never heard of it.
I haven't either, but I wrote it down because it had Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. So clearly it's shooting for something, right?
I'm sure it's good. It was made in 97, bro.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
Event Horizon. Sounds familiar. Haven't heard of it.
What about that band?
All right, but these next few ones are going to hit. The Fifth Element.
Never seen it.
Have you heard of it at least?
I've seen it.
It's like a sci-fi cult classic.
I was on the treadmill at the gym, at Gold's Gym one time, and
Sure.
they had it on, so I've seen about 30 minutes of it.
Okay. My father made me watch this movie multiple times. Very good. Good Will Hunting, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like one of the few movies to ever make me cry.
That could definitely be an
as an adult. It's a very good movie.
That could be an ep.
Yeah. Devil's Advocate, which I think is that Al Pacino.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Okay.
Keep going, though.
Sure. Batman and Robin, and I wrote here, just to be clear, the one with Mr. Freeze, when you got Arnold.
Yep.
Painted blue as Mr.
What
Freeze.
killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age. Yeah, right? Okay.
That's my boy.
I don't know.
Do you know somebody named James Cameron?
Yeah, I heard of him.
It sounds
He's a
familiar.
fan of the pod.
He's a fan of the podcast.
Come on,
He wrote the fan
Here
letter.
are the fan questions.
He released a little movie known as Titanic in '97, which is before Avatar came out, was the highest grossing film of all time.
Never heard of it.
Disney's Hercules, which so far is my favorite from this list.
When we do the
Good Will Hunting is actually Flubber came out in '97. Robin Williams.
What y'all think of the Flubber material?
The gel? Like, what do you think it feels like? What do you think it tastes like?
I don't want to talk about Flubber no more.
All right. And Austin Powers came out in '97. We got another secret agent spy thriller. We got 007 Tomorrow Never Dies.
Okay.
So you're a big 007 fan. I've seen the one movie with you, Spectre. That's it.
Spectre, that was good. I like that. I like the villain. It was Christoph.
Was it Christoph Waltz?
Is that the dude who's the villain in Glorious Bastards?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Dave Bautista is a secondary villain. I think.
Perhaps.
He's in one of them. I don't know which one.
I believe it is.
But I think it's Pierce Brosnan was the Bond agent in this era of James Bond.
Yeah, I never watched any.
Which was
of
like
those
GoldenEye, like Diamond Face, those ones.
I was a Roger Moore guy.
Yeah. Music from '97. You ready? These are some good ones. It takes me back a little bit. You got Third Eye Blind. Boys to Men was making music.
So wait, what Third Eye Blind songs?
I don't actually have that written down.
Zach, give us a little step behind that ledge, my friend. What was that one step?
If you will step back from that
ledge, my friend,
we could
cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in.
There you go.
All right.
Is that our Third Eye Blind?
I think so.
I hope so.
They got that other song too. I forgot how it went though.
Boys to Men was making music in '97. Radiohead, Backstreet Boys,
Yep.
the Spice Girls, Smash Mouth was releasing records in '97. Barbie Girl, like I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
That's a great song. I love that song.
And I left this one for last. Getting Jiggy With It by Will Smith.
Na 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 na.
Exactly. Yep.
That's a great one.
I feel like we grazed over this last time. I didn't even mention it, but I wanted to briefly cover video games from '97. This was like my peak nostalgia, and this is like Nintendo 64, Sony PlayStation, Sega Saturn. It's like what I grew up with, and we had Final Fantasy VII come out in '97. GoldenEye, so more 007 stuff, and we'll talk about James Bond, some James Bond drama later in the podcast. The original Fallout game, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Star Fox 64, Age of Empires. The original Grand Theft Auto came out in 1997, so all around, pretty good year. Let's talk about the lead actors in this movie. Mike Myers and Elizabeth Hurley, who played Vanessa.
What y'all think of Elizabeth?
Well, she did a good job.
She's a good actor. She did fine.
What you think of their romance?
I think it's a comedy. I don't know if...
So what's that mean?
So I think...
Explain yourself. Don't talk in those kind of riddles.
I don't think... I think... You got me on the ropes here. I just don't think that Mike Myers, at least as he's depicted as Austin Powers, realistically, I know he has the mojo, but I don't think realistically
he's pulling that.
He's in the ballpark of this girl.
I don't know, man.
But he's got the mojo, so
it's
I'm
all
not
about the confidence. He had it.
That's the equation minus the mojo. But if you insert the mojo into the equation, you can get any woman he wants. And you know this, Joe.
So you think she just flipped? Like, because she kind of just flipped, like, out of nowhere.
No, I think she slowly kind of...
So she smiled at his penis pump joke.
Yes.
And then the next day she was in love.
No, but just slowly working towards it. It's a comedy.
I know, I'm just hating. I like it. I like it.
That in itself is the joke.
So I'm hating
the fact that this incredible super spy woman...
That's your defense.
Is falling in love with this guy who's clearly, like...
Not okay.
Does not have game and is not attractive. But that's the universe of Austin Powers. Is you have to accept the fact that, like, in this universe,
he's got the mojo.
What he does is considered attractive and sexual. Does that make sense?
I got you on one point. How are you feeling about the sexual harassment that he pulls off in this movie?
What kind of sexual harassment?
There's the part where they're like on the bus, and I forget what move he pulled, but it was impressive. But it was some kind of thrusting move. I don't know what it was.
He does a lot of thrusting.
It wasn't, but it was like a slam thing. It wasn't consensual. So I was like, oh,
who does he thrust? Is it Vanessa?
Yes, on the bus, on like that bed that comes out. It's circular.
The plane, you mean?
Oh, it's a plane.
On the plane.
Yes,
on his private
sorry.
jet.
Yep, you're right. I'm so sorry.
Do I make you Randy?
Do I make you Randy, baby?
Yeah.
That's a line I use on Nicole all the time, and she hates it. I don't use it like trying to initiate anything.
Let's hear it. Let's hear your impression.
My impression?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I make you horny, baby? Do I make you Randy? Yeah.
That's not bad.
That was pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
Well, my hair is a little bit longer. I already have the glasses.
Yeah, but just like the on audio,
Yeah, on the
it was
audio?
pretty fresh.
Sure.
So I was hating on that, but then later he redeemed himself. I'm like, oh, maybe he's not just like a little too perverted because he was a good guy, Austin, when she was drunk. He was like, nah, I'm gonna go get some
I got some notes.
So
and you want me to reference that now, or you want to come back to that?
we can do whatever.
Let's come back to that. But I do have a note for that. I was like, good guy Austin on that move.
And just to clarify, I'm not like offended that there was like the sexual harassment thing. It's just kind of a funny thing. Like,
No, and I mean the movie came out at a time when, like, I don't know. Obviously, it's never acceptable to behave like that.
but it's a movie.
But it's a movie,
Right.
and it exists in this fantasy world where we already established this guy's respected by so many people, even though he behaves in this way.
I'm hating, and this is where I stop hating right now.
Sure, you're not gonna say anything more negative for the rest of this podcast. I look forward to that.
Those are my hating takes.
Mike Myers, up until this point in his career, had been in various TV comedies. He was in Wayne's World 1, Wayne's World 2, and had various SNL appearances.
What about that thing you did with Kanye?
That was after.
It was definitely after.
the news thing, or like the donation thing.
Yeah.
When Kanye just kind of goes off script, and he just looks, Mike Myers is just like really frozen.
Yeah.
That's a funny YouTube video. You should look that up.
I've seen it.
Well, no, it's people listening. You should look that up.
Oh, for sure.
Kanye West, Mike Myers. You'll find it. But he would later go on to do The Love Guru, which is kind of like feels very similar kind of comedy.
Not
like,
the best.
No, I agree.
So Love Guru versus Zohan. What do you think?
I think I still take Love Guru. Adam Sandler, Zohan. He's like a barber.
We should do Zohan. I ain't seen it.
Shrek, obviously, and Cat in the Hat. Mike earned $3.5 million for this movie.
How much was the budget?
The budget was 16.5.
Well, he was a writer too, right?
Yes.
He wrote it.
Yeah. He has a history with this entire like bit of this international spy that's like super exaggerated and really sexual.
So this was like Borat. It was made before the movies came out?
It was a character that he would do with his wife just to like around the house.
Okay.
And she was like, "You should really run with this idea."
Because he's Canadian, right?
She kind of, I believe he is, yes. And his wife encouraged him to kind of run with the idea, and he pitched it to a few studios, and it worked out.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah. Elizabeth, meanwhile, various TV series up to this point, none that I have heard of before, that's what I wrote. And she's still on her grind. She's been in more TV series, things like The Royals, Gossip Girl, and The Tomorrow People I saw. So she never really reached superstardom, nothing of Mike Myers levels. No, she's not making that Shrek money.
Well, the thing is, she's not
R.I.P.
a main character in the next movie, right?
Yeah, we can briefly talk about that. We'll probably wait till the end of the plot here, because...
But I mean, if she was in all three movies, I feel like maybe her stardom...
You haven't seen the beginning of the next movie.
I've seen... I don't know what happens, but I know...
So I almost don't want to spoil it for you.
You don't have to, but I know he's with a different woman.
He is.
Yeah.
Felicity Shagwell is her name. It's amazing.
She's very nice.
She's probably my favorite Powers girl.
Is she best girl? Is that what they say?
So like in the Bond movies, they call them Bond girls.
Okay.
Austin, I'm gonna call them the Powers girls.
So
you have Vanessa, Felicity Shagwell, and then Foxy Cleopatra. That's Beyonce's character.
So are you telling me you're going to rank Beyonce last when it comes time?
No.
Beyonce's my second.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I would put Beyonce second as well.
Sick. Beehive.
I still like Vanessa though. I'd say it's close. I don't know. Okay. Going into this movie, we were kind of talking about this before we started the podcast. I have more nostalgia for this than I do for Avatar. At the time when I was younger, I would probably say that Mike Myers and Jim Carrey were the two most recognizable actors in my life. When I was younger, at least. Just because, like Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, the Austin Powers trilogy, the Wayne's World movies. Those are movies that I would just put on frequently. Like, I loved Spider-Man, and I loved a lot of movies as a kid, but, like, I actually knew the name Mike Myers. Like, I could associate that with the face. I didn't really, like, know, oh, that's Tobey Maguire when I was, like, a 10-year-old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I only had Mike Myers, Adam Sandler, and Will Ferrell. That's
Adam
all I
Sandler's
had.
like- yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't know, comedy's played a big part, I feel like, in most kids' lives, because you don't really analyze movies deeply until you get older. Yeah. At least most people.
When you watched it when you were a kid, what'd you think? Like what?
Of Mike Myers?
Yeah.
I think when you're a kid, you kind of watch your parents laughing at things, and you kind of just laugh along with them.
Kind of attach yourself
Yeah,
to it. Like,
and
that's a funny joke.
That's
my
funny.
parents laugh.
Ha, ha, ha,
So it
ha.
must be funny.
And it's like, I just remember
I don't know.
that kind of laughing at similar jokes.
What comedies did your parents have on when you were a kid, Chuck?
Nothing. Like, they would rent movies, but it'd just be random stuff. There was never, like, a recurring movie in the background. I think Chuck likes sports, so it's like,
Sure.
So I didn't see a lot of movies.
Yeah.
We watched sports as well, but not, I guess, as much as we watched movies. I don't know.
And I had a TV in my room, so I watched the 3 Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. I didn't really watch a lot of movies. So
Yeah, we just always had movies on the background, so I mean... Do you think you could make a movie like this in 2021?
Well, they don't make comedies for theaters anymore.
That is very true.
I
But
don't
streaming
think so.
platform, or
Netflix could.
like a big release with all the sexual jokes.
I think it would have to be an actor, someone who just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
There isn't that much offensive things in there. It's not that offensive.
Sure.
It's stupid, but like
Well, you were mentioning earlier, like things like sexual harassment.
that's where you would have to cut. But
Yeah,
it's only
it's
like
like-
one time in the movie where it's like, and I was kind of nitpicking. It wasn't that bad.
Or is it so satirical that it's not offensive? Like it's on you for not being in on the joke at that point.
I guess.
I think it was made at a different time.
For
so
sure,
like
absolutely.
if you made it today and that happened, I feel like a lot of actresses wouldn't want
Wouldn't
to.
roll with that. They wouldn't
Like
be the-
that,
They wouldn't want
maybe,
footage of them to
or-
exist out there of them.
The guys wouldn't want video footage of that either, because then they might get labeled as sexual harassment.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's hard to associate. Once you become so popular with a role, it's hard to like
Disassociate.
put that character in a serious movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the Marvel effect. Like, oh, Iron Man's in this movie. What the heck?
I mean, it can
When
be
you see
done.
Robert Downey Jr. elsewhere,
Steve Carell did it, so you can.
he did, and he does some really good serious roles. That is
so
true
It's definitely possible,
for sure.
but
Good enough actor, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more like random humor lives better it lives on, but like in shorter frequencies on like TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. It's just where you're gonna find this kind of, because it's kind of memey. A lot of the, it sounds stupid to say, but
Yeah.
a lot of that kind of humor in this movie.
So this movie opens. Let's just talk about the movie. Let's jump in. The movie opens in 1967. There is a time skip. It starts off somewhere outside of Las Vegas. We meet Dr. Evil and his council. Dr. Evil, of course, played by Mike Myers. So he's kind of doing like the Eddie Murphy thing, or like the modern day like Tyler Perry thing of like
Right, playing 2 roles.
playing multiple roles in his movies.
Very
exactly.
impressive.
Which I loved.
He played the 2 leads. He deserved 3.
Yeah, for sure. The protagonist and the antagonist. Yeah,
So shout out to Mike.
yeah. The movie on his back.
He really did.
We meet his villain council. Will Ferrell is there. And I wrote, fun fact here. The movie opens in 1967. Will Ferrell was born in 1967.
That's crazy.
Thought that was just interesting trivia.
It is.
The members of his council sit in these chairs.
He murks.
And he has these buttons that drop them into a pit of fire where they die. Do they not know about the trapdoors? I feel like you gotta notice, like, the tile looking off under your seat or something, right?
Well, after
or
you
the
see-
sound of a fire below you.
Once they see Will get taken out, they know it's... Was he the first to get taken out?
No, Will's one of the last ones.
Okay. So he should have known it was coming.
For sure, for sure.
But-
You had some thoughts on the Will Ferrell scene there, right?
Oh, it wasn't that funny.
Not
and
a
it went
fan.
on for a while.
I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite scene. I
It
feel like
might-
a lot of people like that scene.
It might be, and I'm whack. I'm sorry.
No. I'm not crazy about it. You could argue it might just be because it's Will Ferrell that people like it. Like, oh, it's
Maybe.
Will Ferrell acting goofy.
I know spoilers is in the second movie, because in the 30 minutes I've seen of that movie at the barber shop, he was there, and he had a similar fate.
He is in the second movie. I don't want to spoil stuff, though. There's like a lot of things that...
Happened.
Yeah, exactly.
My only connection to this movie was the 30 minutes I seen at the barber shop.
Of the
so
sequel.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Dr. Evil with Mr. Bigglesworth?
Mr. Bigglesworth was cute both ways.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mr. Bigglesworth. He doesn't have a lot to do, but he's got a cool name. It's like,
Good villain.
Can't say anything negative about Bigglesworth, but I ain't gonna give him that much praise either because he's not that dope.
So you've only ever seen like one James Bond movie ever?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was Spectre.
So,
One
but
more recent
the
Daniel
villains
Craig
always have
films.
a cat.
Not always, but that is like we're already starting off to see so many villain tropes.
Okay.
Just a secret lair, right?
So my lack
The
of
count-
seeing this type of movie, a lot of jokes that are such satire might have
It
went
is-
right
it
over
is-
my head.
It is extremely just a parody of all things James Bond.
See,
So the most common trope in James Bond is the villain's secret lair. He always gets the girl. There's like always sexual tension, and this movie I feel just takes all of those bits and like kicks it up to 100. You know what I mean?
Makes it a little ridiculous.
Extremely ridiculous. Yeah. We cut to London, England. We're still in 1967, and it's kind of like Beatlemania. You know, like the classic like Beatles when like they're running down the road and all the women are chasing them, except it's not the Beatles, it's Austin Powers, and it's free love, baby.
the vibe is immaculate.
The vibe is immaculate. I said here, I love how you can tell we're in London because one in every 10 people have a Union Jack flag, either on their clothing or like they're holding a flag.
Is that their flag? Is that what it's called? The Union Jack?
Yeah, it's like the
Okay.
blue with the cross, the red cross.
Did you know that?
No.
We just
The
got
name,
schooled.
the name of the flag.
We got schooled.
Austin Powers' car even has the flag on it. License plate says Swinger, so he's rolling up.
What do you think of that license plate? Do you think that's a little much? Like, we don't need to know, kind of like,
That he's a swinger?
yeah, it's like, I didn't ask. It's like a little personal. Don't know.
You're reading too much into it, man. It's a movie.
I'm hating.
I think it's like a Batmobile kind of situation.
I get it.
Like,
It's funny.
does
no.
the car need to be
He's so
have bat
angry.
shapes to it?
No, I said I'm going to stop hating from this point forward.
Yeah.
No more.
Still hating.
Never again.
They meet at Dr. Evil's club. They chase him out. Dr. Evil cryogenically freezes himself for 30 years, and he wants to wait until free love is no more. Because all this 60s hippie free love energy is too much for him. His evil schemes aren't going to work with Austin Powers running amok and all these hippies around. At
What he
least
didn't account
that's
for
his mindset.
was Austin Powers being there. Is he surprised when he comes back and Austin Powers is...
I don't think he ever.
Right.
So he must get the word somehow. They also froze Austin Powers.
I guess.
Which take one for the team. I will also cryogenically freeze myself until Dr. Evil returns.
Oh, Austin? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because I forgot that he agreed to do that.
Would you cryogenically freeze yourself right now?
For how many years?
30 years.
No, I'm not going to Pandora for 5 years. I'm not cryogenically freezing myself for 30 years.
No.
So,
No, why-
probably
why
not.
would I do that?
We're going to come
The
back.
world's gonna be worse.
Right, the world is going to be burnt.
Burnt up.
What happens? You come back and like society is way different too. Like you,
Right. Like, you don't know the memes.
Something not okay.
They unfreeze Austin Powers, and he pees for what feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't.
Little
That
long.
joke was not funny.
A little long.
As a kid,
I thought it was very funny.
I would seize. That joke got me.
I
Like,
could see that.
that joke got me like mad giggling and
Yeah.
like
I bet
on
it
my
would.
side, like the fetal position. Like he pees for so long. I timed it. You know how long he actually pees for? What
Let me guess. A minute 54.
do you think, Zach?
2 minutes 53 seconds.
52 seconds. Not that long.
Okay.
It feels like a long time though, right? It feel like just the sound of water running.
The stages
like a very
took
long
forever, man. It was like liquidation. You know, like all those stages took
It's
a
very-
very long time.
It's very funny in my opinion. It's just like it's really weird. It's like he's all gooey and then like it's like a car wash. They like air dry him. His hair's all messed up. It's very like what's the word? Physical comedy, practical comedy, where it's like the things you see. It's not actual.
Is that slapstick, perhaps?
Slapstick humor,
I
maybe.
don't know.
He's got a hair. My boy's got a hairy chest
It's in the shape of, you know...
of a dong. That's why I have it written here in my notes. Hairy chest in the shape of a dong.
Yeah, it's a dong, for sure.
Austin Powers gets his things back on his way out. He's checking out. His middle name is Danger. I did not know that.
What's James's middle name?
James Bond's middle name? I'm not sure. James Bond is a moniker that's given to you as a secret agent.
Mm.
So that's not their official name.
So that's why a female
the
can be
dub-
James Bond.
Yeah, I suppose so. But the 007 agent is James Bond. That's like what their secret agent name is.
So you can have like a whack name and still have a cool name.
Exactly, right?
Makes sense.
My man Austin has Burt Bacharach on vinyl. That's one of his few possessions that were left before he froze himself.
You can't lose it.
And the reason I bring this up, you're like, why are you touching on these very minute details? Burt Bacharach is like an inside joke within this trilogy. He appears in each movie. So he appears later in Vegas when they're out on their cute date on the bus. He's like, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burt Bacharach. And then he starts playing What the World Needs Now Is Love on piano.
There's some good songs.
That's
in
very
the
pretty, yeah.
It's a very romantic night, yeah.
It's very pretty.
That was a good part. The montage of them.
Them just out in the town in
Yeah.
Vegas. You don't like the penis pump joke?
No, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. It got... Never mind. No, let's not talk about that.
It's my favorite joke, but yeah, we can move past that. It's probably my favorite joke in the movie. There's a couple random scene transitions in this movie where it's just like funky music and he like puts his...
Is it like a band or like a
There's-
variety show kind of thing?
It's like when the Beatles used to go on like old like talk shows and would play. It has that very psychedelic 60s, 70s like color scheme.
Right. There's a... have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
If not.
Cut.
I'm just going to cut that out.
You can leave it in. Go ahead and leave it in.
Yeah, please leave it in. What were you going to say?
Oh, well, there's a scene of Leo dancing in that same kind of style. That's kind of... It was in
The camera flashing and he's kind of jumping around in front of the camera.
It was in the trailer as well, so I thought maybe...
Nice. We're unthawing Austin Powers because Dr. Evil is back. It's been 30 years. It's 1997 now. Things are a little different than they were in the 60s. Dr. Evil has a new lair, new group of villains. One of them in particular is very funny to me. He has the villain Random Task is his name.
Is that who throws the shoe?
He's the man who throws the shoes.
He's like Oddjob.
Exactly. Thank you, Zach.
Is that a James Bond
That is
thing?
a James Bond villain.
Yeah.
His name is Oddjob.
Yeah.
And he throws a hat. And I believe it has like a sharpness to it.
It's a little bowler hat.
He throws like a bowler hat that
Yeah.
can kind of slice you up if he throws it at you.
Don't hit me.
So Oddjob, just change the words Random Task. It's the same exact meaning, but I thought that was a very nice touch.
See,
It just straight ripped off of me.
It's just a straight up
I never
rip-off.
got that.
And I love it. It's just all these parodies that I'm catching. And I'm a big fan. As a kid, I did not catch these.
I just see a random dude.
Sharks with the
throw-
laser beams.
So that was a joke. Okay, you got the bass. Okay, see, that's funnier now. The guy who threw the shoe and just cracked open a vase or whatever, I'm like, that's really not that funny. But now that I know it's satirical,
It's
I can
very funny.
appreciate it.
Who is a better CEO of VirtueCon, number 2 or Dr. Evil?
Number 2? What do you
Probably
mean?
number
There's
2.
one other number.
Get that man back.
Oh yeah, he got murked, didn't he?
They have made $90 billion. They make $90 billion a year, he says.
So he said 9. Was it 90?
9 or 90, but they make so much money. They're a huge
Yeah,
conglomerate.
'cause why would they ask for 100
They
billion?
control, it might be 9 billion. They control like oil reserves and like other factories, manufacturing. They're all over it, right?
They be polluting.
They do. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think that's a concern when they have a drill that's going to drive into the core of the planet.
I agree.
I would like to see the actual science behind that plan. If you were to drill into the core, I mean, the drill would probably melt before it could even reach.
Sounds like you're hating. What do you mean?
No, I'm just curious if this is a real thing that like an actual terrorist could do
Oh.
in
No.
modern day.
Because
No.
the volcanoes probably wouldn't
And they
trigger.
probably wouldn't react to that, right?
Yeah.
There might be some long-term effects, something like that.
I think so. I think we might all die from something, but not specifically volcano eruptions.
I wrote
Maybe
here,
you would create a new volcano.
That'd be sick.
how is Vanessa able to resist his charm?
His mojo?
His mojo.
He comes on a little strong. You know, he's rusty.
Maybe Vanessa's she's kind of new to being a spy, correct? She's kind of recently out of institution. Maybe hasn't been in that many missions. Maybe she's overwhelmed by just all this sexual energy from Austin Powers.
She was also kind of hating on his teeth a lot, you know?
She's not a fan of the teeth.
And how'd that make you feel?
It hurt my feelings a little bit, because coming from a man whose teeth are not the best.
Zach has great looking teeth.
That's rough, man. You don't attack the man's teeth
You can't
like
see
that.
Zach's teeth right now, but they look way better than mine.
I was like, damn.
Your teeth are great. It could be teeth, it could be anything, but just like her like kind of picking at that flaw was like a little superficial for me, you know? And
I don't like that. You
and
don't need to do that.
but I
She
don't know.
keeps itching at it.
But it's a movie, it's funny, whatever.
For sure, absolutely. Like,
Right.
anything you criticize in this, what are we doing?
Right.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
hating.
Yeah, sure.
I'm hating.
Young Seth Green is in this. You know what Seth Green's known for?
And I love
That's
him.
Dr. Evil's son, Scotty.
What was Seth Green in?
He's Family Guy.
He's Chris in Family Guy.
Robot Chicken.
He's a co-creator of Robot Chicken.
He was in Without a Paddle?
Maybe.
Without a Paddle?
He was in, shoot. What's the comedy called? He's an Amish guy.
Without a Paddle. Oh my goodness, I know exactly what you're talking
what's
about.
What's the name of that movie? I never saw it, but everybody saw it.
He was an Amish guy, yeah, he was an Amish guy.
I gotta look it up.
Was Tom Green in that movie?
Seth Green, Amish.
That's so funny. I do remember him being
Sex
Amish
Drive.
Guy.
He was in
Sex Drive,
He's
yes.
the Amish guy in Sex Drive.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Gosh, I forgot he was in Sex Drive.
Yeah, he's nowadays like a comedy legend. The Robot Chicken alone is huge.
So he's in the Hall of Fame.
They did like 6 seasons of that.
Maybe more. The Star Wars Robot Chicken.
Oh, all the Star Wars Robot Chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote here.
Chris was the main character of those Star Wars
Family Guy.
Because he was Luke Skywalker.
He was Luke Skywalker,
Yeah,
so
right,
he's doing all the voice there. So I mean, it's crazy.
Scotty, young Seth Green, Dr. Evil's son, he comes out of his room and there's just grunge music blasting. Mm-hmm. This dude is just the epitome of the 90s. He has a Kurt Cobain t-shirt, has Kurt Cobain's t-shirt on. Later in the movie, he makes a reference. He's like, "Hey, cool if I grab the Sega, Dad?
Yeah.
Like the Sega Genesis or the Sega Saturn, whatever he's talking about."
Saturn. Well,
Saturn was out at the time, but Genesis was way more popular.
Right, this was filmed
Mega Drive
before '97.
His dynamic with Dr. Evil is one of my favorite parts of this movie. Just like
I think it's probably the
back and forth.
Dr. Evil's my favorite character.
Yeah, he's very good. Zach, I wrote down here that he's 5'4", and I know you were hurting on Sam Worthington last week.
He's 5'4".
Seth Green is 5'4".
He's 5'4"?
Yeah, he's 5'4".
So you're slandering Sam while he's out here dunking on Seth?
Oh,
and now we gotta hate on Seth. Seth would have never caught
Wait a second.
if it wasn't for you hating
This
on
is my fault. I'm sorry for talking about other people's heights. But how tall is Mike then? Because Mike and Seth stand next to each other, and I couldn't really notice the difference.
It's that Tom Cruise movie magic. Let me check Mike Myers' height.
I imagine
in Tom Cruise movies, he wears like little lifts.
Yeah.
Mike Myers is 5'8". He's not tall either.
Wow.
Depending on who you're talking.
But
in a room with us, he's the shortest guy.
That's still a respect. I don't want to get into respectable heights because every height is respectable.
Exactly.
But I'm saying like that's still around average. But you were hating on Sam to be Seth's size.
You know what, man? I'm not a perfect human.
You were saying Sam was
me.
Seth's size.
All right, listen.
It's just funny. It's just funny because he's a fan of the pod and he's hurt. He heard that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I like Seth better as an actor, though.
Austin and Vanessa get to their hotel in Vegas. Remember, they are decoying, disguising themselves as just a couple on their honeymoon, maybe, or just on a couple taking a trip to Vegas. They can find out what Dr. Evil's up to.
They get the one bedroom.
Vanessa opens her suitcase, and I had to pause the screen. She has her suitcase very organized. Everything has like a bag with like a label on it. And Austin Powers makes a comment like, "Nerd alert," whatever. One of her bags is labeled lingerie. So this goes back to my idea. How is she possibly resisting this man? She came here knowing that
she was prepped.
Business was going to go down.
Not only that, though.
I am very confident.
In her defense, and this is a shutdown defense, she is on a mission. She needs that stuff for mission purposes. For the seduction of the guy with the key card. You gotta,
you think that's going to happen?
The samba, whatever she gotta do, and get it done.
You know what? Chuck brought up some very compelling points.
Sure.
I will concede.
Sure. We get to poker in the casino.
Great scene.
Very good scene. We are introduced to another Powers girl from this movie.
Yeah.
Halada Fagina is her name.
I still think the name's funny, dude.
It's
I'm
funny.
sorry. I think the name's funny.
Do you think this name is ridiculous?
Yes. 100%.
It's fun. It's in Austin Powers. Like, I'm glad
So you don't think James Bond would do anything like this, right? 007 series wouldn't do anything like this?
I don't know.
Octopussy, bro.
Can I read you some 007 girl names?
Yeah.
Pussy Galore.
So that was my lunch lady.
I'm just trying to get through these names without laughing. All right, Pussy Galore, Honey Rider, Plenty O'Toole.
Not the best, man.
Thumper.
This is...
Thumper was a fine young lady.
Chew Me. It's like an Asian...
So this one's a little racist, huh?
That sounds like a little race.
Holly...
We the woke podcast. Get out of here.
Holly Goodhead.
That's a little on the nose. It's like... I don't know if...
That's pretty on the head. On the head.
If we needed Holly Goodhead to be in...
Octopussy.
I'd rather have that than Holly Goodhead.
Peaceful Fountains of Desire.
That was a woman's name.
That was a woman's name.
That's a goddess.
It sounds like a goddess's name.
Sounds
Those
like
are all
like
Bond
Yu-Gi-Oh
girls'
card.
names. So, is this even a parody, or is this just copying the Bond trend of overly sexualizing these names? Because these are ridiculous.
I think it's
No offense to these fictional women's names.
still a satire. But it's not.
It's absolutely a satire.
It's still funny.
Yeah. So you snickered when you heard Halata Vagina for the first time? Did you know that was her name going in? Like,
I didn't
did you
laugh
know about that moment?
I didn't laugh at all during the movie, but
Yeah.
I mentally
Giggle.
stimulated
You're like,
when
all
I
right,
had
all right,
it.
you got me. All
But
right.
the thing is, I didn't laugh at Avatar either. So this is 2 movies in a row didn't laugh once. And
Not many laughable moments during Avatar. I mean, there's some.
I
little
wouldn't say
quips,
Avatar.
but-
I would not say Avatar is a comedy.
I'm just saying,
I don't think it's a laugh
I
out.
have not laughed yet in podcast history.
You're also like, you have no emotions.
What? Austin has to use the restroom because number 2 went there. Number 2 has to go to the little boy's room.
Right.
Number 2 has to go do a number 2. Do you see the joke?
Yeah, I saw it, and then there was a bunch of spoilers.
You still didn't laugh.
About like
The Irishman comes out, or the Scott.
he was a cowboy.
Lucky Charms guy tries to come out and strangle Austin.
Right.
What the hell did you eat?
And he's coaching him through his poop.
Right.
Because that's what you do in a public restroom. If you notice somebody to your right really having a bad poop, you
We're gonna get through this together.
call out, hey, just work through this. We're going to get through this together. That's a normal thing you do, right?
Yeah, and then he got drowned. He died.
You only make it if you're there with your homies.
We cut back to Dr. Evil's lair. Patch me through to the United Nations Security Secret Meeting Room. And we open up in the United Nations. It's like this special table that members of each of these countries meet at.
Right, they're posted up.
And everyone is dressed up in the most extreme stereotypes possible. But you can right away tell like what country they represent. But it's all like extreme stereotypes. Like I want to say, there's like a bullfighter who I guess represents Spain. There's like
There's a Middle Eastern dude.
some man with bagpipes. There's a Canadian with like the Mountie police attire, like the red with like the big brown hat. There's a sumo wrestlers there, and just the sumo wrestler like strap.
That's fun. That's funny. I didn't see that. That's funny.
We can cut this, but you think extreme stereotypes of countries are funny?
See, don't cut this. Let me defend myself.
Please, dude. That'd be
So
good.
the sumo wrestler is funny because you would never expect to see a sumo wrestler at a.
It's like I saw a guy in his underwear. That's funny.
It is slightly racist,
Yes, absolutely.
but it's not that racist, and it's sort of funny because
Maybe he just got off work.
it subverts your expectations because you're like, oh, everyone else is in a suit, but the sumo wrestler.
It's also a movie from the early 90s where things were just passed, you know?
But you can still use that joke today. Just have everybody else be regular people, and then put the sumo wrestler in there, and don't say anything.
So when you get the script, when you're writing the script for Austin Powers 4,
Right.
That's
Austin
how you-
Powers with the Rise of the Fallen.
Revenge of the Fallen,
Yeah. I like Rise of the Fallen.
Revenge of the Shaggin,
Yeah, but like
the Shaggin' Dragon
Rise
of the Silver Surfer
Awakens.
Shag.
Maybe.
Dr. Evil spent 6 years at Evil Medical School. Not just medical school. There's an Evil Medical School.
He's
that
a
he went to.
scholar.
He's a scholar,
I
yeah.
feel like he didn't get his doctorate, though.
Yeah. There's 2 times in this movie where Austin Powers is waking up or doing something in like a hotel room, totally naked, and his wiener is perfectly blocked by whatever Vanessa is doing.
Right.
I like those scenes, though.
When she was like
I'm a
blowing
fan.
balloon.
I think
Yeah.
it's, and once again, it's that good like visual comedy.
There was a boobs version at the
There's a
very
booze
end of the
version at the
movie.
end of the movie. Yep.
Yeah.
The cantaloupes or whatever.
Austin Powers has the moves. They're in the hotel room. They've had some drinks, and he steps behind the couch.
That is awesome.
That
And he
was
does the canoe.
Yeah.
He does. Oh, why don't I take the escalator? Why don't I take the stairs? Yeah, that's good comedy.
That's
I like
good
that.
comedy.
And that's like a natural like thing I could see a guy doing with a girl just to get her to laugh. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like his normal extreme. Have sex with me. I'll shag you. Blah blah blah. stuff
Right.
that
Do
he
I make you
says.
horny?
He's actually like saying jokes and stuff, which I really like.
He's flirting.
It feels natural, like natural flirtatious kind of.
But that was funny. I didn't laugh, but it was funny.
Yeah. I wrote down here, and I highlighted it. We talked about it briefly. Austin denies sex with Vanessa because she's drunk, and I wrote here in all caps, that's some king shit.
Good guy, Austin.
Good guy,
But
Austin.
then,
But then what?
he put his work in 5 minutes down the road. you
That
know?
was consensual, you know. He
Oh, yeah, but Poor Vanessa broke her heart.
She was drunk. Like, she never soberly...
I know.
Before we get ahead to Miss Vagina,
true.
I want to remind you that it's the 90s. Austin gets a ping on his laptop, and he opens it up, and it's like the AOL Messenger. And there's like a chunky video from Basil at British Intelligence.
That's awesome.
And I wrote here, this is the 90s, even if he is somehow like Etherneted, that video would have taken like 4 hours.
Right, to download.
If not more to download.
On that dial-up.
Exactly, right?
But, hey, shout out to AOL, shout out to everything
Absolutely,
from that era.
Absolutely.
Being beautiful.
Yeah. It's a chunky-ass laptop. I wrote that.
I loved it, though.
Yeah, I love it, too. I love that kind of old stuff.
Bing bang.
We're at Halada Vagina's apartment. What do you think of the atmosphere in that apartment? Or the hotel room, whatever she is staying at?
I can't remember anything but her hot tub.
It's got that Asian flair. It's almost like a little garden.
It
has
flair.
different
Sake.
Sake, yeah. It has like the different
I like the doors that open.
the little
and
trees
close,
and everything.
The bonsai trees.
The bonsai trees, thank you.
Oh wait,
had a good vibe.
The scene
good
where
aesthetic.
She that was her in the scene where like the door is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then she's doing the outline.
That's kind of a Bond thing, like a silhouette of like a naked woman.
Mm.
That's very much like a Bond thing.
They parody that in a couple other
Yeah.
films as well.
Austin Powers, who's currently undercover, keeps a business card on hand with his secret identity on it.
And that's one of the flaws in the movie that's not a stupid hater nitpick, is that doesn't have any consequence or any... the only thing...
Because she doesn't kill him or anything.
Right.
She's still... Yeah.
He can just shag her like without her knowing that he's Austin Powers, and it can still resolve the conflict.
Chuck, you're nitpicking, and you forget the fact
this isn't a nitpick.
that this man
This is an actual flaw.
This man is Austin Powers, the international man of mystery. And even if she knows who he is, he's still Austin Powers. He has the mojo. So... she's going to shag him and just be totally okay with whatever he does if he escapes and goes and tells British Intelligence about their secret plan. Because it's Austin Powers to talk
So
about.
how does
she
her
cannot
story
resist
end?
him.
How does her story end?
She gets shot.
By who?
I want to say Vanessa.
So she was still on the offensive.
Yeah, she stays with Dr. Evil.
So
she stays on Dr. Evil.
I think your argument would be more compelling.
She doesn't immediately go to Dr. Evil and go, Austin Powers in my apartment. I let him get away. He took pictures from the secret binder that talked about our plans.
And she figured out who it was. And she didn't.
She does not do that because she can't resist him. You know, she can't.
Okay, so you're gonna blame on the mojo. I think it's I think it's just they shouldn't have shown that maybe. But you know, I'm a hater.
We love fart jokes here on the podcast.
Oh yeah, we love them.
All right, I'm gonna try to memorize this. I don't have it written down. Pardon me for being rude. It was not me. It was my food. It just popped up to say hello, and now it's gone way down below. He farts in the hot tub and says that to her.
Oh, he does. Yep.
And then she goes, or before that, she's like, "How dare you break wind before me?"
Yeah.
But she's like super attracted to this man who just farted in front of her because it's the mojo, Chuck. That's intense sexual passion.
Ha!
You just laughed. See? I knew he had emotion.
The baby.
She just hit the
soundbite.
Are you using the soundbite? Are you actually using the soundboard?
The human soundboard. I mean, yeah, it was clever.
What do you think of the fembots? The perfect trap for Austin Powers. One would think.
I mean, they almost got him.
So him getting away with the dancing scene, that was funny. I like that.
But the dancing when it blew him up,
yeah,
that's a good scene.
Dr. Evil says, "I like to see girls of that caliber."
Oh,
they shoot the bullets out of their chest.
So the mix between that joke being
like they're
recognized as like a dad joke kind of thing,
yeah.
or like he like had to say it twice,
Mm-hmm, yeah.
and it being actually kind of clever, and him saying it in his voice, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, good joke. British Intelligence just has a makeshift headquarters in the Vegas hotel. They hook up Austin with some gadgets.
You never know where you're going to need it.
I agree.
He decks his mom, right?
Very much another like Bond trope, not punching people's moms, but the gadgets. There's a reoccurring character in the Bond franchise called Q.
Yeah.
Who is just he
was Inspector.
He was Inspector. For the longest time, it was the same actor. I don't have the actor's name written down. And then he passed away, and then they replaced it with the guy who was Inspector in some of the more recent Daniel Craig movies. But he's like a reoccurring character who's in every James Bond movie for the most part, and it's always like, here's some gadgets for you, Bond. I know you're going to destroy this car I just gave you, and you'll probably lose these gadgets because the villain will capture you. But
the gadgets are cool.
But here you go. The car's worth $5 million. You'll break it, but here you go.
Da-na-na-na.
Austin gets a GPS watch, which at the time, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
He gets toothpaste, floss, and a toothbrush, which we don't think will come in handy. It does later with their escape, but it's just Vanessa grilling him more for the teeth.
How did that work? They used the floss to escape the
angry sea bass.
He says, "I get it. I have bad teeth."
Yeah. She's like, Austin, the floss.
But then he ends up getting them fixed at the end. Like, nah, let your teeth fly, right?
It does. I mean, good dental hygiene is important, though.
I just feel like they were hating on him so much. He should have just rocked out with it.
He changed who he was.
Crooked Smile by J. Cole. Like,
Austin Powers fears two things: nuclear warheads and carnies, circus folk.
yeah, I mean,
That's just a quotable scene. That's not even like that might not even make people laugh. It's just one of those really weird out there scenes that it made you laugh.
no.
No, it didn't make you laugh. You were making a face.
Carnies, I mean, it's like, haha, random. Yeah.
It's very random, right?
But it doesn't make me not laugh. Like, I still find it humorous.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Evil and Scott are at family therapy. Dr. Evil.
That was a funny scene.
That was funny.
Yeah.
That was definitely funny.
Did you recognize their therapist at family therapy?
I did recognize the therapist.
Was she in Glee or something?
She was not in Glee unless she guest starred. She was in Star Wars.
Who'd she play?
Princess Leia.
Oh, that was Carrie Fisher?
Carrie Fisher is their therapist
Wow.
at family therapy. Yeah.
It's trash. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, she cut her hair.
Who's going to take over the world when I'm gone, Scott? We all feel like that sometimes, right? Who's going to take over the world when I'm gone? And all the fathers kind of agree.
Right, they were on board with this messaging until...
Because they think it's all a metaphor. And then
Right.
they hear Dr. Evil's actual story and they're like, oh my gosh.
Like, wait a second, this guy is up to some shit.
Yeah. I argue that Austin Powers is very smooth. He obviously is the most attractive man, most mysterious man in the entire universe within this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa, he may have made a little mistake, though. Vanessa asks Austin about halata vagina, what happened the other night. And he responds by saying, you want to know an impression?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
I shagged her. I shagged her rotten, baby, yeah. He's happy about it. He's ecstatic.
He's telling the truth.
And then here's one of my favorite lines. Did you use protection? Of course, baby. I had my 9mm automatic.
That was funny.
Did you just laugh? Okay.
The way when my friend says it, it's funny.
Yeah, you don't see Mike Myers as a friend. I like Austin's introspective journey through Las Vegas. Once he kind of reflects on himself, he's like, I'm a man out of time right now. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, he has the sneakers.
He has the sneakers.
Yeah.
He's looking up celebrities that died.
Right.
People are making fun of how he looks. In one night, he watches the lunar landing, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the election of the first female British Prime Minister, and the end of apartheid in Africa. So that's just a huge worldwide cultural brain explosion. All those things that happened.
I wrote down feel scene in my notes. It was a you're in your feelings.
And I think there's some soft Burt Bacharach playing. That the world needs love. It's kind of like a reprisal of before, because they had that happy scene when they were touring Las Vegas, and he's by himself touring Las Vegas.
But as soon as that ends, they're back as cool. They're cool again.
Kind of, yeah.
As soon as that feels scene ends.
Because they kind of talk about it in the morning. Quick, sorry. Austin Powers is listing celebrities who died while he was frozen. And one of the celebrities he lists is Mama Cass, which I had no idea who this was. And he says that her cause of death was ham sandwich. You just said cause of death, ham sandwich.
Get that joke.
I didn't get it, so I looked into it because I'm just all about these notes and stuff. She, in fact, died of heart failure. It's an urban legend that extends beyond this movie that suggests that she died from eating and choking on a ham sandwich. So it's just a little nod to that urban legend.
It was
I thought it was really random, very interesting.
It was a joke that was already out there in the ether, and they referenced it.
Very much so, yeah. We break into Dr. Evil's lair, or we're at least trying to. We get into Virtucon. Austin and Vanessa hijack a steamroller, and there's a man who asks them to stop and stand still in front of the steamroller. And it's over 15 seconds of him screaming. And he's just...
that's funny.
And I wrote down, and it's kind of like the pee joke. It's not as long as the pee joke.
That's funnier.
And I was just like, classic.
And they actually go through with it. They
actually get move. Yeah. They literally just...
They don't even show you.
He squashed you can kind of hear the crunch.
Right.
Though.
They don't show you him flat on the ground.
Hear this, it's comedically flat on the ground now. I think it would be much gorier. Yeah, crazy stuff. That's like the kind of fear I have. That's the kind of stuff you watch as a kid, and then you like ride the escalator. You're like, oh gosh, I don't want to get my feet stuck in the escalator.
Or like you have a dream
I
and
used
you're
to
like
be
running so slow in your dream away from the monsters.
I used to be so terrified of it.
I used to be very afraid of the escalator. I mean, I still am. I'm still like, I gotta step off this thing really quick. We're at the United Nations, and after Dr. Evil like gets off the screen, really briefly, Beavis and Butthead comes on the TV.
I saw that. That's 90s, man.
Like, this is so 90s right now. Yeah.
That's the best era.
They capture Austin Powers and Vanessa. Scott comes out of his room. Last week we talked a lot about Sigourney Weaver.
Mm.
And she walked away from our first podcast with a very important award.
The Black Lung Award?
The Black Lung Award.
I definitely know who's winning it.
Do you know what scene I'm about to talk about?
The scene where he smokes like 7 of them at once?
Now, there's an honorable mention I want to talk about really quick. At the opening scene, I glazed over it. Dr. Evil's villain council. There's a man with a hook hand, and he's holding a cigar.
I missed
on
that.
his hook. So I'm scouring through this safari of movies. I'm looking intensely to see any use of tobacco in this movies.
Because you at the beginning of the movie, you gave him the Black Lung Award.
I knew for a fact that I had to give somebody the Black Lung Award.
Right.
He was an early contender. I forgot about this scene towards the end. Austin defeats the fembots using pure sexual energy. That's what I wrote down here. You cannot resist these. Maybe it's a joke up to this point in the movie, but you can't deny what he does in this scene
It's impressive.
would make any woman in 2021 just fall to their knees, right?
Made me fall on my knees.
Exactly.
He hit them with nicotine against their will.
Puts 8 cigarettes in his mouth or something like that. Lights them all. Flicks them into their mouths. Perfect quick scope. Perfect accuracy.
Bang, 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 bang. Kill streak.
Their heads explode.
Pavlo.
How's that for libido?
That's crazy.
Yeah. They press the abort button. They immediately stop the drill from hitting the core of the planet. They save the world. We cut to Austin and Vanessa's honeymoon. They're staying at a hotel. Austin's finally settled down, right? We thought we defeated Dr. Evil. We thought the movie was over, but there's
He
one...
refroze himself, right?
He refreezes himself,
Like
but there's
he gets
one
away.
final villainous moment. Random Task appears from the Odd Job knockoff.
Right, screwball.
And he finally, for the first time, hits somebody with a shoe. This is his skill that he has mastered. And you think like something bad's going to happen. It just hits Austin in the face. And he says, Who throws a shoe, honestly?
He calls him a woman.
Honestly, that might be one of my favorite parts of the movie,
Like
just
you
because of
fight-
the way he says it.
Well, it's this buildup of this guy being like a deadly assassin in Dr. Evil's council, and he finally does the thing that he's known for doing.
Right.
It's like, just annoys Austin. Who throws a shoe,
Honestly,
honestly?
yeah, it's just like, that gets me every time.
Groovy. No, it was horrible.
Did you notice how they defeated Random Task?
She smashed him over his head or something like that, right?
But prior to that, they stun him, and I wrote here, death by penis pump.
Oh yeah, they penis pump him over the pants.
Penis pump him over the pants.
Oh, of course.
Well,
PG-13.
that's how the Swedish ones work.
PG-13,
Okay.
yeah.
See,
And then Vanessa smashes, I think, a vase over there.
I wanted to bring this up earlier. These pumps don't have any effect in this because they would probably be used more. Like, I've never actually had a conversation with someone who's ever owned one of these things.
Yes, but I don't think you associate yourself with people who would be the type of people to purchase penis pumps. So I just don't know.
There's a lot of peas in that word you just said there. You did it very well. You did it very well.
People who would purchase a penis pump.
I got to
Say it like 5 times really fast.
I don't know much research about them, but they can't be good for you. They can't be.
No, I imagine not. It's
gotta
not a
be
very
quite
natural thing to do.
This
to
is
your
the
body.
educational part of the podcast.
Yes.
Don't use those.
I'm so happy to see Vanessa and Austin married at the end of this movie. I'm so excited to see what interesting dynamic Austin being married will bring in the sequel to this movie. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge. I wonder what's going to happen to Vanessa.
She get murked.
You want me to spoil it? Should
No.
we spoil it?
I don't think we should spoil
We
it.
shouldn't spoil it. Okay.
I don't think we should spoil it. We should probably let that be natural. It'll be funny.
Episode
Sure.
21, Austin Powers 2. I don't want to know.
That was Austin Powers. Your overall thoughts so far?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I hated on a lot of stuff, but I'm just a hater.
Yeah,
But it was.
But as a comedy from the 90s,
enjoyable. Could have been a lot worse. Humorous.
the movie is iconic, I think. It's still like a common Halloween costume. I think you would see it like Halloween stores. If you saw James Bond and you saw Austin Powers, I think most people, at least in America, would probably recognize Austin Powers first. He has such a significant look about him.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like a suave British man in a suit versus like the full red coat with like the male symbol necklace and like the fluffy wrists and
So, like,
the shaggy hair and the big thick glasses.
Daniel Craig,
Yes.
Inspector, looks the exact same as Daniel Craig in Knives Out. You know, but Mike Myers only dresses up as Austin
It's a
Powers
very specific look. You know
in
what
one
I mean?
or three movies.
The name James Bond is clearly more iconic than Austin Powers, but I think the look itself, many people would agree that you will recognize Austin Powers way quicker than you'd go, I think that guy was in James Bond. You know what I mean?
Austin Powers is still pretty famous. I mean, I've never seen the movies, but I knew about him.
For sure. So that was Austin Powers. Now we're going to jump into some trivia on the movie. Let's just rattle it off. This is Mike Myers' favorite of all of his performances. So, better than Shrek, better than Wayne's World, better than the one horror movie with Mike Myers.
Halloween?
Yeah, he's in that, right?
Yeah, he's in that.
Mike Myers is the villain.
He's the main horror guy.
Is he in
Yeah.
Scary Movie like 4 or something like that? Is that like a joke from one of those movies?
Oh, that would be funny if like actual actor Mike Myers appears. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Mike Myers. Man, we should write.
No.
No.
You can write.
Mike Myers originally wanted Jim Carrey to play Dr. Evil, but Carrey eventually passed due to scheduling conflicts with Liar Liar.
Good flick.
Is he a lawyer in Liar Liar?
Yes, and he can't lie.
So Yes Man is a spiritual successor to Liar Liar?
Yes.
Wow.
So we just talked about Random Task. Would you say he's your favorite of like the villain council?
Dr. Evil?
Besides Dr. Evil.
Who?
Random Task.
I like the
No.
angry lady that yells a lot.
Oh, like his right hand.
Yeah.
I'd say Scott was probably the most interesting.
Sure. Good answers. The actor who played Random Task, Joe's son, is serving a lifetime prison sentence for the torture of a 19-year-old woman in 1990.
Not cool.
He was uncaptured until 2008 when a DNA match linked him to a crime. So,
Wow.
yeah, I was just like, what the heck? I just stumbled upon that
forensic
one.
evidence
I was
clapped
like, oh
him.
my gosh.
Wow.
That's just intense stuff.
Bro, you should have been a better person.
The shushing scene where Dr. Evil and Scott go back and forth, that was totally improvised.
That was funny.
Scott trying to get some words out, and he just keeps interrupting with the shh. That was totally
That was a
improvised.
great scene. So
That's
that's
really good scene.
improvised? That's awesome.
You need to hit me with that sometimes.
You need to hit me with that sometimes. I feel like
You
I
don't
talked too much.
shush, though.
I feel like I talked too much. Mindy Sterling, famous from Ned's Declassified.
Yes.
iCarly. Was she also in this?
Brandon Cosgrove? Mindy Sterling? Who's Mindy Sterling?
The teacher from
Oh,
iCarly.
Miss Griggs.
Yeah, so...
Miss Briggs. Miss Briggs.
Rewind. Mindy, we're rewinding, right?
Miss Briggs. Keep that in, that's funny.
Mindy Sterling, the teacher from iCarly, not Ned's Declassified, Chuck.
Miss Briggs.
Miss Briggs, she improvised those lines when she was making fun of the guy about the Lucky Charm commercials. And I love that when you have a comedy and you got some actual funny people on set making jokes. This is a part that really upsets me personally. As someone who prefers Wayne's World over Austin Powers, Mike Myers decided not to do a third Wayne's World so he could focus on and develop this secret agent comedy which turned into Austin Powers. So that hurts me. It's a he says here it is a parody of James Bond movies. Can I tell you about some drama, some beef?
Yeah, I need to hear the beat.
So we're going to talk about the 007 series and a certain James Bond actor you may know, and his opinion on the Austin Powers movies. So part of the influence for this film can be seen in an early sketch Mike Myers did for Saturday Night Live, in which several James Bond nemesis complain about his invulnerability and how much easier it should be to kill him than it actually is. Because in the James Bond movies, similar to Austin Powers, he's in all these terrible situations.
Right.
But he somehow escapes, right? The spinning bed scene, which is on the plane in Austin Powers, that's an homage to Casino Royale, the original movie that was in 1967.
That's a great movie as well.
Wow.
Is that
I didn't
Sean
even
Con-
know
is
it
that
was a
Sean
remake.
Connery?
Remake.
No, wait. I'm thinking of the funny version.
Casino Royale 1967. So
You're
not
thinking
like
of
not the
Airplane?
new Daniel Craig one.
No, hold on. Let me see a picture of the cover. Hold on.
Is it an airplane movie?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Does Casino Royale take place in Vegas?
I'm not sure 100%.
What do you think about Casino Royale, Zach?
The 1967 film Casino Royale.
It's a colorful cast of characters.
Sure.
That's sick.
A former...
David Niven was James Bond, not Roger
Okay.
Ebert.
Moore.
Yeah, Roger Moore.
And it was more of a funny movie, I remember it being.
Is that lighthearted?
It was more lighthearted.
Not as serious as your
Don't
typical
Call Me
007
Shirley.
movie.
Is that from that?
It's from the movie Airplane, Chuck.
Yeah.
But we should
Totally
watch Casino
different
Royale.
movie. I think that would get you laughing. I think that movie would generally get you laughing.
I've seen part of it.
Former Bond girl Lois Chiles has a cameo in this movie in Austin
Does
Powers
she play one of the hot girls?
as the wife of the henchman who was crushed by the steamroller.
Ooh.
That's tough. The handgun Austin uses, that tiny 9mm, is a Walther PPK S.380. I know nothing about guns, so I probably read off the name of it wrong.
38 millimeter? Is that what it is? No, that's not 38 millimeter.
380.
What does 38 mean?
3.380.
38 caliber. That's what it is.
No idea. Which is the same weapon used by James Bond. Oh, look at that.
No, it's a 38 caliber because it got 40. I got my 45. That's a 45 caliber.
By the way,
222s in my shoes.
Casino Royale was a James Bond spoof, where James Bond comes out of retirement. It was a real movie, though.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Pretty
now.
meta.
That makes more sense now. So there weren't two James. Obviously there wouldn't be two. They were like, oh, let's release another Casino Royale.
No,
so yeah, that was a
They made a
parody.
serious Casino Royale
Okay, yeah.
for some reason.
Speaking of Casino Royale, Daniel Craig is the James Bond in that movie, and here's where the drama comes in. You're big drama. Okay?
Daniel was being a sourpuss.
Daniel Craig, the sixth actor to play James Bond, went on record. He testified to say that Austin Powers messed up the James Bond film franchise. The producers feared people would not be able to take James Bond seriously after Austin Powers mocked the campy nature of the series. This led to the darker and grittier Casino Royale reboot. And I would definitely agree, if you go from Pierce Brosnan, James Bond, to Daniel Craig, it is a drastic shift in tone. You have like the opening scene where it's intense parkour, and Daniel Craig is like slamming somebody's head in a bathroom sink. It's really dark and gritty.
So why is that beef?
I overhyped it.
because
Daniel Craig does not like Austin Powers.
Well, he don't have to like it, but he should thank it, because if anything, it took them in a new direction and modernized
Encourage
the
them.
movies.
And I think the Daniel Craig series is arguably one of the better. I think Sean Connery is the most iconic, though.
I mean, you got spoofed, so it made you as a franchise have to not rely on these tropes as much, because it's more out there in the open, and made you a better franchise. Daniel, you should be thanking Michael. Daniel listens too.
This is a part of the podcast where Chuck is going to insert game show music. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen,
I thought you were editing this one.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, one of the segments on. I don't have Audacity downloaded. Welcome to one of the segments on this podcast. Welcome, known as Austin Powers. Does he got the mojo? Sorry, let me restart.
Look, man.
You editing this?
Look, man. I just work here. I don't get edited.
I make the thumbnails.
Bro, it does not take as long as it takes to edit. It takes like twice the length of the episode to edit.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to one of our newest segments. And Chuck's going to add some game show music. It'll start right now. Austin Powers, does he got the mojo? Every time we analyze an Austin Powers movie, we're going to break down some of his best pickup lines and decide, do we really think he has the mojo or not? Today I'm joined with, of course, Chuck and Zach. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And after I say the line to you, I want you to describe if you think that they got mojo or not, okay?
Bring it on.
Name, Austin Danger Powers. Sex? Yes, please. He's filling out the form, and he's writing his name out, and then they ask for his gender.
Groovy. Because not anymore, but in '97.
So we have a rating scale. Groovy is obviously sort of like a 3 out of 5,
Okay.
right? Shagadelic would be number 1, I would say.
Well, that'd be a 5 out of 5.
And
Rubbish.
rubbish. There you go. Good one. It's like a 1. Okay.
You're editing this, by the way.
Yeah. I never forget a pussy. Cat.
Okay, that's a 2.5. That's a groove.
That's a groove.
What do you think, Zach?
I'm going with number 1.
Rubbish.
Zach's game is way advanced.
My God, Vanessa's got a fabulous body. I bet she shags like a minx. How do I let them know because of the unfreezing process I have no inner monologue? I hope I didn't just say all of that out just now.
It's a 5.
That's a 5.
Shagadelic.
That's a 5.
That's a 5 for sure.
Shall we shag now or shall we shag later? How do you like to do it? Do you like to wash up first? Top and tails, whore's bath. Personally, before I'm on the job, I like to give my undercarriage a bit of a how's your father.
I love all the sayings he's intertwining through this, so I gotta give that a 5 as well.
Sure. Vanessa says, Mr. Powers, I would never have sex with you ever. If you're the last man on Earth, and I was the last woman on Earth, and the future of the human race depended on our having sex simply for procreation, I still would not have sex with you. And Austin responds with, what's your point, Vanessa?
5 out of 5, bro. That is a legend. It was a legend, bro.
So he's not taking no for
He's
an
got
answer.
absolutely shut down.
That's kind of
He's
rinky,
like,
but
what's your point?
But it shows heart.
That's
though.
mojo.
It shows the heart that he's confident enough.
Miss Vagina says, some sake, Mr. Cunningham? Sake it to me, baby.
That's a 1. That's forced.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that one a love.
Vanessa's talking about something. He interrupts. That's fascinating, Vanessa. Listen, why don't we go in the back and shag?
He wasn't having it. He was ready to go.
Says, I've been frozen for 30 years. I gotta see if my bits and pieces are still working. My wedding tackle. My meat and 2 veg. My twig and berries. Hello, ladies. Are you still awake?
He got the message across. I don't know what else you want from him.
He was hammering it home.
So you do indeed agree that that had some serious game to it.
I mean, these are ranging between 3 and 5. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, there's some great ones. There's some gems. But
when you read them outside of the context of the movie with a dry voice,
right,
it sounds very predatorial.
If you're British, it sounds way better.
British accents are funny. No offense to British people.
But they can say minx.
I love British accents.
They can say minx and not sound weird. We can't say minx.
Yeah, that's true. It's not really in our vocabulary.
It's whack.
Alada says, in Japan, men come first and women come second, and Austin says. Or sometimes not at all.
That's a 10. That's funny.
You're rating this on funny? So is that a...
Well, it's clever. If I was...
Is that a groovy or a shagadelic? Or is that just...
What?
That's got me all knackered up. That's so funny. I need more British sayings.
I don't know what you would use it. Just baby, you know what I'm saying? But it's a 10. It's clever.
Vanessa accuses Austin of having shagged Vagina. And he responds, no, you're right to be suspicious. I shagged her. What? I shagged her rotten, baby. Yeah.
That's a 3, He could have been more vulgar, but he could have been smoother.
He could have. I'm gonna go 2.
All right. And that's the end of our incredible game show bit. Chuck, thanks for the fade out with the music. Very well done. At this point, we're kind of at the end here. We've already given our Black Lung Award. That was to Mike, correct? For his smoking of 8 cigarettes at once.
You have to get the Square Up Award.
We've given Seth Green the... What's the height award?
It's just the Sam Worthington Award.
The Sam Worthington Award. The Sam Worthington Award for impressing us with your height.
Yeah, some kind of height.
Your lack of height.
Wait, that doesn't have to be every podcast award, but...
Sure.
If one stands out.
Right, then they give the Sam Worthington Award. Specifically by you. We're not bullying them, but you are.
So, I mean, in general, comedy is very arbitrary. Jokes that landed 20 years ago are very likely to not be funny anymore.
Exactly.
Or at least not be funny to a new audience.
There's a lot less timeless comedies than timeless dramas.
Absolutely. I grew up with Austin Powers, and most of the jokes still hit pretty good. I know it's very cheesy. And a lot of it's borderlining like sexual harassment, but in the context of the satirical movie, I think it's funny.
I thought it was a solid movie. I give it a like. I give it a big swag for sure. Barely, but I do.
You do give it a big swag. Is it just big swag or no big swag?
Yeah, but we all got to vote.
I give it a big swag.
I thought it was up, and then
big up. Yeah,
and then you choose a person in the movie.
For the big swag award.
Yeah.
All right, so I give it a big up.
I guess I'll give it a big up. I don't want to give it a big down.
There's only one or the other. There's no in between.
So we all vote.
I give it a big up, yeah, obviously.
So it passed the nostalgia test.
Yeah, I don't think our nostalgia was wasted on watching this again.
It goes in the victory circle. I thought, even though I didn't chuckle a lot, I was engaged for the whole hour and 29 minutes. It never got that boring.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was...
Yeah, it moves at a clip.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Bounces from scene to scene.
And I'd watch it again, not right away, but like in a year or two, I'd watch it again.
I would watch this again sooner than I would watch Avatar again. Avatar's 2.5 hours.
I just rewatched Avatar like twice in like a month span, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, that's my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm disagreeing. I'm not even disagreeing with you, but I'm just, you know.
Yeah, I think this is just a guilty pleasure.
How do you feel?
It's a good time.
Would you rewatch it again in the near future, or would you put it aside?
No.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't watch either of these movies again in your future.
I'm not going to watch either of these movies again.
Yeah.
It would have to be something very interesting, like,
Are you excited for the sequel?
I'm excited to do that.
for the second Austin Powers.
Episode 21 of the Wasted Nostalgia podcast, we're doing the sequel.
I'm pretty excited to watch it again because it's been a longer time since I've seen that than it was since I've seen the previous movie.
Yeah. Another series you guys might like, you may have already seen it, Kingsman,
I've never seen it.
which is another sort of take
Yeah,
on the international super spy from Britain.
I saw
James
the
Bond
first
parody.
one.
Sam Jackson's in one of them.
I love the first one. I like both a lot.
You're a spy fan.
I just really like Kingsman. It's like a comic book adaptation into a movie. It's really well done in my opinion.
I'll have to check it out.
The action's really good. I'm a huge fan.
So you're giving it the big up cosign.
Big up cosign. Just I'll put my cards on the table. If you guys don't both give it big ups after we watch it,
That's a square up award.
we're gonna square up and we'll videotape it of us squaring.
Well, who gets the big swag award?
I think it's gotta be Mike.
It's got
Well, is it Mike?
He played 3 roles.
Writing, played 2 roles in this.
So I'm gonna give the big swag award. On my vote would be Dr. Evil, because I enjoyed his character a lot more than. Well, I guess I have no problem giving it to Mike. He wrote the movie.
So he's walking away with 2 awards: Black Lung and the Big Swag.
He did. He doubled up.
That's impressive.
He's in most of the damn movie, so.
Absolutely, yes.
So.
Or do you give your big swag to the 60s for that culture giving us this in the first place?
Can't do
If it
it.
wasn't for free love and hippies, we couldn't have Austin Powers.
It took place in the 90s in an era that was arguably better. They even hashed it out at the end of the movie, Ryan, the message of the movie. The times are still groovy.
That is true.
They just grew up a little bit.
The times have evolved, that's right.
But they grew up a little bit.
That's good. All right. Well, I think we'll close off things there. It's a good lesson to end on.
Yeah. I apologize for my aggression sometimes. You know, I just get excited.
You were very aggressive. No, I'm just kidding. You were good.
Oh, we're squaring up at the end of this. Me and Ryan are going to fight.
We are going to fight. But before we do that, we do need to end off this podcast. So This has been Wasted of Nostalgia. Thank you for wasting your time with us. Hope you have a great time. My name's Ryan. The music you're hearing right now was put in by Chuck. It's going to fade out. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace.